Welcome to Beyond the To-Do List, a podcast about productivity. I'm your host, Eric Fisher, and this is a special Shortcast edition brought to you in partnership with Blinkist, the app that delivers key insights from top nonfiction books and podcasts in just 15 minutes. With Blinkist, you can explore more episodes like this one, covering topics like productivity, mindfulness, leadership, personal growth. And after listening to this episode, click the link in the show notes or go to Blinkist.com and start a free trial, and then search for Beyond the To-Do List to find the over 70 plus episodes of Beyond the To-Do List that are in there as shortcasts. You're gonna love them, just like this episode.
How many meetings do you have in an average week? According to Forbes, there are 55 million meetings a day in the United States. As valuable and energizing as good meetings can be, too many get-togethers can feel like a waste of time, a pointless distraction from the real work. In fact, bad meetings are typically the result of poor planning or poor execution and can be made more effective with a change in mindset. So if sitting through a pointless meeting at work sounds like your worst nightmare, this shortcast is for you.
And I actually think it's the biggest productivity loss in companies today. And there's a lot of data around how much time is wasted in meetings. But if you look at the overall how we spend our time, so much of it gets sucked into meetings that if we're not optimizing them, meetings can make a huge impact.
In this conversation, we catch up with Mamie Kanfer Stewart, co-author of Momentum, Creating Effective, Engaging, and Enjoyable Meetings. We talk about some of the key questions that we should be thinking about and acting on when it comes to meetings, such as why are we even having one? Who do we invite? And then she breaks down how to have an effective meeting as we walk through the ideal before, during, and after of a meeting. I started by asking, how can we get the most out of meetings?
Start by asking yourself, what is it that we want to accomplish? What's the outcome we want to achieve? Not what's the purpose of the meeting, but what is the outcome we want to achieve? We call it a desired outcome. And then decide if a meeting is the optimal way to get to that outcome. And it's incredible how many times you might reflect on that and say, oh, maybe I just need to send an email, or maybe I should put together a document explaining something and let people comment on it and ask questions on it. Or maybe I need to meet with each person one-on-one and not bring them together as a group. And all of those are alternatives to meetings, but that can get you to that same outcome.
What about people who think that meetings are basically made to get in the way of getting the real work done?
Oh, see, this is what pains me because meetings are real work. We're just not using them properly, right? There are two different ways that we get work done in businesses today when you're working as part of a team. You can work by yourself or you can work with others. And when you work by yourself, we call that, doing your task list. And when you work with others, we typically call that a meeting. So it's not that one or the other is bad or better. It's that we have to optimize both of them in order to really streamline and be most efficient and most productive in our work. With meetings, too often we are not giving them the attention that they need to be fully optimized. And part of that's because we don't always have control. And part of it's because no one taught this stuff. Right? I like to say a lot, like I went to business school, I worked in different organizations. No one ever taught me how to write an agenda. I learned it through osmosis. I got lucky that I was in an environment with people who were writing clear agendas and using a template. But it wasn't like anyone ever sat me down and said, okay, Mamie, you're going to spend about 50% of your time in meetings. So we're going to make sure that you know how to do this the right way. No, we've never put the attention into meetings the way that we have around personal productivity. So meetings are definitely a good way to get work done if you're addressing them with the kind of proper attention and tools and techniques and approaches to make them worthwhile.
It's not only about making sure the right people are in the meeting, it's also about maybe making sure you don't have everybody in a meeting for the wrong outcome.
Yes. We call this meeting FOMO, or fear of missing out. That many organizations have a culture in which you invite people because that's what you do. If you're not invited to the meeting, you have no clue what's going on. You're not important. Nobody thinks about you or cares about you. So you just kind of invite everybody. And if you're not there, kind of too bad. And kind of the flip side of that is there's no autonomy to say no to a meeting other than I'm sick, I'm already booked at that time. Right? It's like a logistical thing. If you can't make it to the meeting for a logistical reason, it's okay to say no. But if you ask a question like, why are you asking me to join this meeting? What is it that you are hoping I'll bring to the conversation? Oh no, that's a big no-no. You should not question why you're asked to go to a meeting. You just go because you were invited. And that is a huge problem. If people don't feel like they can question their participation in a meeting, it's really hard to one, know why you're supposed to be there, especially if there's no agenda and no one's telling you, this is what I'm hoping you're going to bring to the table, which it sounds like, is this really the right meeting? And did you need to have so many people? Did you need to be there for the whole time? All of those questions that come up as a meeting participant, if you're not allowed to ask them, it's really hard to feel like you are in control of your time and able to optimize yourself.
So what if you and I right now did like a hypothetical before, during, and after a meeting? And let's just assume, okay, the desired outcome is, fill in the blank here, but it does require a meeting. We've already decided that. Now that we know we have to have a meeting, what's before, during, and after look like in an ideal situation?
So from a content perspective, I'm going to plan my agenda and I'm going to do it in a very particular way. So I start with my desired outcome. And then next, I'm going to decide what are the activities that we're going to do in the meeting. So what are the topics of discussion? What are the methods for that conversation to unfold? So are we going to have brainstorming? That's one activity. What's the actual method that the brainstorming is going to unfold, which will help me figure out how much time I need. So you want to be as specific as possible with the topic, the activity, and the time. And I'm always going to include at the beginning a check-in time, which is about 5 minutes at the start of the meeting to do two things. One, assume that people are not going to show up right on the dot. And the other piece of the check-in is to just get people's voices into the room, making sure you're asking them, what's going on in your life? How are you feeling today? Are you ready for this meeting? The more people that can talk in the first couple of minutes, the more likely they'll talk later on in the meeting, and just kind of set the tone for everybody here is important and we want to hear from you.
All right. So now we are in the meeting.
So we're going to start with our check-in. We're going to review our desired outcome, ground people into what this actual meeting is about and why we have gathered. It's surprising how many people come to a meeting and they don't remember what the agenda said or why they're in this meeting, which is totally fair, right? You got cognitive load. We're all dealing with all these other things going on in our brain. If I walk into a meeting, don't expect me to remember exactly what the desired outcome is because I got 100 other things going on. So as the meeting leader, you need to tell me, remind me, this is why we're gathered. This is what we're going to accomplish today. Get everybody focused and ready. Use your agenda as a tool. Pay attention to the time. You can even assign a timekeeper. Assign other people roles to help you lead. So ask one person, give them a copy of the agenda and say, can you help us make sure that we're staying on track? Just call out when we've hit the time. And all the person has to do is say, okay, guys, sorry to interrupt. We are at the end of the time allocated for this conversation. Should we keep going and push our agenda? Or should we rejigger the agenda so that this conversation can have more time? Get to the end of the meeting. And now you've got your last couple of minutes to do your wrap up. And this is a really important time because it does a couple of things. One, it clarifies exactly what your conversation achieved. And we might be surprised or maybe not how many times we leave meetings and we either feel a sense of what did we decide? Like, what did we actually get done in this meeting? And when you use that time at the end to clarify, this was the decision that was made. These are the 3 or 4 next steps we have and who's going to be responsible for them. You help people come to a sense of closure and make sure when they walk out the door, everybody has the same understanding. You never want to say, well, it sounds like we came to a decision. No, state the decision. This is the decision I'm hearing us make. We've agreed to blah, 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 and get everyone's head nodding and then write that decision down. The other thing that this does at the end is people walk out with a real sense of accomplishment and you can assess your meeting against your desired outcome. Did we get to our desired outcome? We said we wanted to make a decision. Did we actually make a decision? And if not, why? What is it that's missing? Are we missing a person? Are we missing some critical information? Did we get lost in our own conversation and so we didn't manage ourselves well to get to the outcome we needed because we just were going down rabbit holes or tangents? Why did we not get to it? Because next time we can be more prepared to get ourselves to that outcome. There's a lot goes into a good meeting. And the amazing thing is that you don't actually have to do all of these things to have a really productive meeting. Just start somewhere. And if you're going to do one thing differently, start with that desired outcome. Be super clear what you want to achieve in your meeting. Tell people who are coming, this is what we're going to achieve. And at the end of the meeting, ask yourself, did we achieve this? And state it that this was the decision or this was the ideas or Yes, are we all in alignment? Get the thumbs up from everybody to know that you achieved that desired outcome. That alone will have exponential impact on the productivity and the emotional side of your meetings.
I really enjoyed revisiting this chat with Mamie. It was a great refresher on how to survive all these meetings and start to create a different culture around meetings and analyze how they're being used inside your organization. It's clear to me that meetings are still one of the best ways to connect at work, especially if you can walk away with a desired outcome and some clear wins. If you enjoyed this shortcast, do check out other episodes of Beyond the To-Do List, such as my time with Jeff Goins, where we discussed effective collaboration. I'm Eric Fisher, and thanks for listening to this shortcast of Beyond the To-Do List.